I think God blessed Louisiana, and having blessed us once, God blessed us twice. We're located at the top of the Gulf Coast. Those of you who've been there know we're in the middle of the Gulf South. We straddle one of the mightiest rivers in the entire world. We've got more oil and gas than most nations. We're experts in things like petrochemical manufacturing and oil and gas exploration, aquaculture, agriculture, and education, healthcare. I could keep going. Timber production. My people they're God-fearing, they're hard-working, and they're fun-loving. We're right next door to Texas. Texas gets a lot of good publicity. More power to them. But don't forget this. Texas is 5.5 times bigger than Louisiana. We're 10.5 times more interesting than they are. So I love Louisiana. But sometimes some of my people do dumb things. We're all human. And something just happened at Mardi Gras that turned my stomach. And let me say, I love New Orleans. I used to live in New Orleans. I practiced law in New Orleans. I met my wife in New Orleans. I raised my son for the first couple of years of his life in New Orleans. Wonderful city. We have this tradition called Mardi Gras. And it's not just one day, it's like several weeks. And people from the entire world come to celebrate with us. Name me another city, any city, that just shuts down the entire city for one day in the middle of the week to just enjoy life. And we celebrate together. Every race, every religion, every socioeconomic class, we're all together. And we have parades. And these floats are big floats. You know what I mean if you've been to New Orleans and have seen Mardi Gras. But if you haven't, these floats these are big puppies. They're anywhere from, 30 to 60 feet long. And they're tall, anywhere from 13 to 18 feet. And crew members, each parade is organized by what's called a crew. It's like a club. The crew members ride on the floats. And they throw beads. And they throw toys. And some of them throw coconuts to the crowd. And the crowds are lined up by the side of the street, 8, 10, 12 feet deep. All flavors of humanity. Throw me something, mister. Throw me something, mister. But if you're a float rider, I've only done it once. One of the first things you're taught is to be careful. Because these beads, maybe a single strand of beads is not that dangerous. But a lot of people on the floats throw beads in groups. And a coconut, whether it's a single coconut or several, I can tell you, is a mighty missile. And so you're taught to be careful where you throw and try to throw to people when they see it coming. Because otherwise, if you get hit in the face with a bunch of beads or a coconut, you're going to get hurt. You can lose an eye. I've had it happen to me. It's dangerous. And they teach the float riders this. Now, we have a lot of our cops. We have to borrow some cops from some other counties, we call them parishes, to come help us. Because there's some jackaloons who misbehave at the parades. So we have a lot of our cops out. And I think it was this past weekend, I want to get the name right, we had the crew of Carrollton sponsored a float. Wonderful people in the crew of Carrollton, one of the oldest crews we have. But there were some knuckleheads on one of those floats. And they were taking bunches of beads and trying to hurt the cops with them. Now, the cops are not looking at the floats. The cops are looking at the crowds. And the cops are watching the people to make sure they don't have too many cocktails and try to run between floats and get run over. And the cops are watching the children because we have a lot of our kids. We bring a lot of our kids. The cops are not looking. They're not going, throw me something, mister. They're doing their job. And 41 people on one of the crew of Carrollton floats were throwing beads and toys and other stuff trying to hit the cops in the face. And it wasn't just one or two. It was disgraceful. The police had to shut down the parade, to their credit. They shut her down. And they pulled all 41 people off this float and said, you're out of here. And the cops did the right thing. And it's embarrassing for me to have to say this, that this happened in my state, in my city, but it did. Now, the mayor's issued a statement. Thank you, Mayor. Hadn't heard our city council say a word, not a peep. That doesn't mean they hadn't. I apologize if I missed it. And it's no secret that many of my people in New Orleans think that cops are a bigger problem than criminals. This is America. You can believe what you want. And a lot of people, we went through the defund the police, jackassery. And a lot of my people in New Orleans, it's a sanctuary city. I know they say they're not, but most of my local law enforcement officials don't cooperate with ICE. They think the borders ought to be wide open. I don't. It's against the law. But this is America. They can believe that. But you can't hurt cops. And these 41 people, after receiving due process, if they did this, they shouldn't just be disciplined. Oh, you can't ride next year. They need to prosecute. And the people in New Orleans need to demand it. Acts have consequences. And you don't have the right to hurt cops just because you don't like them. I've said this many, many times. I get in trouble every time, but I believe it. If you hate cops just because they're cops, next time you get in trouble, have at it. Call a crackhead and see what happens. See if they'll protect you. So I'm sorry this happened. I want to apologize to the people, the good people in New Orleans, for these 41 skillet heads who did this, allegedly. I want to apologize for the people of America who've read about this, or who saw it, came down to love on my city some. But I don't want to ever see this happen again. And every one of those 41 people ought to be prosecuted and then made to hide their head in a bag for their entire prison sentence. Mr. President, I'm done.